Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free English ebook before it's gone. Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Okay, let's get to your first question this week. First question this week comes from Bhavna Singh. Hi Bhavna. Bhavna says, hi Alicia, can you explain the difference between as soon as and no sooner than? Okay, sure. Let's talk about as soon as first. So let's take a look at an example sentence. I'll leave the house as soon as I finish my homework. In this example sentence, we have two actions, leaving the house and finishing homework. So as soon as shows us that one action will happen once another action is completed. So in my example sentence, I'll leave the house as soon as I finish my homework means when this action is done, finishing homework, the first action will happen, leaving the house. So when we use as soon as, the first action actually happens last. I'll leave the house as soon as I finish my homework. Means that this action is the one that needs to be finished before the first action can happen. Let's compare this to no sooner than. So let's take a look at an example sentence. For example, he's going to arrive at the airport no sooner than 12 o'clock. This means that some action is going to happen, and we want to express that the action will not happen before a certain time. In this case, he's not going to arrive at the airport before 12 o'clock, but sometime after 12 o'clock is possible. So in this case, he's going to arrive at the airport no sooner than 12 o'clock expresses this idea. So as soon as is used to talk about one action happening before another action, and no sooner than refers to one action not happening until a certain point in time, or maybe until something else has finished. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Sokaina. I hope I said your name right. Hi, Sokaina. Sokaina says, hey, Alicia, I was watching an English movie and I heard the sentence, we have chemistry. What does it mean? Hope you answer my question. Yeah, great question. We have chemistry. This doesn't usually mean chemistry class like in school. When we're talking about chemistry between two people, it means romantic chemistry, or maybe just friendship kind of chemistry. Chemistry means that two people get along really well. They understand each other, the conversation flows easily. It's not hard to work with that person. It's not hard to talk to that person. They get along really well. We tend to use this expression a lot more in romantic relationships. When you go on a date with someone for the first time, you might say, we had chemistry, or we had no chemistry, meaning it was really great and we could talk easily, or it wasn't so great and we didn't really have a good flow. So this chemistry refers to how well we can interact with another person, how easy it is to talk and be friends with or to be romantic with another person. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks for the question. Okay, on to our next question. Next question comes from Llewellyn. I hope I said that right, Llewellyn. Hi, Llewellyn. Llewellyn says, hi, Alicia. What is daylight saving time? I'm very confused. My country does not have this. Great question. Yeah, in the USA, we have this thing called daylight saving time. You might also hear daylight savings time used, but this refers to changing the times on the clock twice a year. So when we want to gain an hour of time, like when the sun goes down very early in winter, there will be a day each year when everyone in the country has to set their clocks forward or back to gain or lose an hour of time. I know this probably seems really strange to you if your country doesn't have this practice or doesn't have this custom, but in the US and maybe in some other countries that use daylight savings time to try to get lots and lots of sunshine in the day, this is what happens. Everybody changes their clocks 1 hour forward or 1 hour back depending on the season. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the interesting cultural question. Okay, on to our next question. Next question comes from Weil. Hi, Weil. I hope I said your name right. Weil says, hello, Alicia. I read something like, you cannot use forget if you want to mention the place you left something. For example, don't say, I forgot my book at home. Instead say, I left my book at home. My question is, what if I really want to refer to the fact that I actually forgot my book at home? What should I say? Yeah, interesting question. I have never read this before, but no, it's completely okay to say, I forgot my book at home, or I have forgotten my book at home. It's completely correct. You can also just say, I forgot my book. That's 100% correct too. There is no problem putting a place after forget here. I left my wallet at home is also completely okay. So in this case, when you're talking about leaving or forgetting something in a location, you can use either verb, and you can also include a place with either verb as well. Both are totally fine. Don't worry about a place with forget or not. You can use either. So that's a very interesting question, but thanks for asking. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Next question comes from Anderson. Hi, Anderson. Anderson says, what does the expression, I dropped the ball mean? Great question. I dropped the ball. Okay, this is a sports kind of expression, right? So of course we can use it to mean dropping an actual ball if you're playing sports or something. But you will hear this used in business situations and work situations, maybe when you're making plans with someone. To drop the ball means to not take care of your responsibilities. So for example, your friend expected you to make a restaurant reservation for a party. You didn't do it. They might say, you dropped the ball, you were supposed to do that. So you imagine yourself as a player in a game where you have some responsibility with the ball, like to make a shot or something like that. But if you don't do it, you don't fulfill your responsibility. We express that sometimes with this expression, to drop the ball. So you didn't do something you were supposed to do. You were supposed to maybe continue making plans, or you were supposed to continue communicating with someone. You did not do it. You failed to do your responsibility. Someone might say, wow, you really dropped the ball there. So I hope that this helps answer your question. Thanks for an interesting one. All right, that is everything for this week. Thank you very much for your interesting questions, as always. Remember, you can send them to me at EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alicia. There's also a link in the description. Of course, if you enjoyed this lesson, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this week's episode of Ask Alicia, and I will see you again next time. Bye! Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Okay, let's get to your first question this week. First question this week comes from Eden M. Hi Eden. Eden says, time is important in the United States and many people frown upon lateness. What does it mean to frown upon lateness? Thanks, Alicia. Great question. Yeah, this idea of frown upon something means we look down on something or we consider something bad. In this case, frown upon lateness means we think that being late is a bad thing. So if you are late, it reflects badly or poorly on your character. So you can use this frown upon plus some noun or noun phrase to express that you don't feel good about that thing. So for example, you might say something like, many people frown upon gambling. They think it's unhealthy or a poor use of money. Or, my parents frown upon drinking a lot. They say that it's not good for your body. So you can use a different noun in place of lateness to refer to looking down on something, to thinking that something is not good. A frown refers to the opposite of a smile, but we can't use smile upon, actually. We use frown upon only in this case. So I hope this answers your question. To frown upon lateness or to frown upon something means to look down on that noun or to have a poor opinion of that noun. Thanks for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Iori or Lori. Hi. Lori says, how do I improve my reading comprehension? And what should I do when I find unfamiliar words while having a conversation or reading some books? Okay, so these two questions are connected, I think. How to improve your reading comprehension and what you do when you find new words, like when you're reading a book or maybe you're in a conversation. My suggestion is when you're reading a book and you find a new word, try to guess what the word means just by yourself for a moment. Try to guess what the word means and then don't worry too much about it. And then review. come back to that same word or that same page maybe a little bit later or after your study session or whatever. If you still can't guess what that word means based on the context, then check a dictionary and make a note somewhere, write it down. Then after you do that, maybe the next day, review it again. So this practice of gradually finding new words in your reading will help you to build your vocabulary, yes, and it will boost your reading comprehension. So you need to actively be working on considering these words in your mind by yourself first, and then looking for extra information when you need it. This is a time-consuming process, yes, but it will gradually help you to build your reading comprehension and boost your vocabulary skills. So you can also apply this then in speaking. When you learn those new words from books and from your different readings, you can also apply those words in your speech. So I hope that this helps you. Remember, try to guess what the word means on your own, check back again later after you've read some more of the text, look up the word in a dictionary, and most importantly, review, review, review. All right, let's go to our next question. Next question comes from Carlos Alberto Rosario. Hello, Carlos. Carlos says, "Hi, Alicia, I'm from Brazil. Thanks for your lessons. My question, why do native speakers sometimes use do before verbs and sometimes not? For example, I do believe in love and I believe in love." Oh, okay. So this is a question about emphasis. So for example, with your example, I believe in love versus I do believe in love, the I do pattern could be in response to a question. Like, do you believe in love? You could say, I do believe in love. The do acts as an emphasis, like, yes, absolutely. You can say, of course, correctly, I believe in love. Yes, I believe in love. But that do shows emphasis for something. I do believe in love. You can also use this in some situations as like a confirmation of something. Like in past tense, you might see this example. Like, hey, you didn't finish this report. What happened? Then you could say, wait, no, I did finish that report. So that will show that there's some kind of contrast with the speaker's opinion. Like you're trying to reverse or like confirm something that actually happened. You might also see this used more commonly in past tense. So you might see both of these. They're very common. One is for emphasis, as in your example sentence, I think, and one to kind of confirm or to give some contrasting information, as in the, yes, I did finish that report. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Yin Mon U. Hi, Yin Mon U. Yin Mon U says, "Hi, Alicia. I want to know the difference between break and crack. For example, I crack eggs into a bowl, or I break eggs into a bowl. What's the difference?" Yeah, great question. So the difference here is in the type of break. So if you imagine break as like an umbrella, and then we have a lot of different types of break underneath that umbrella. This might help you a little bit. So to break something means like to destroy something, kind of generally, like to break a bone, or in your example, to break an egg. So we just destroy that thing in some way, right, when we use break. To crack something, a crack is a specific type of break. So when we crack an egg, we see lines form on the egg, right? Those are cracks. So we can use this as a noun as well. So when you have some kind of break that causes those lines to appear somewhere, you can describe that as cracking the object, or you can use the noun, as I did, to describe those lines as cracks in the object. For example, if a building is destroyed in an earthquake, you might say, oh my gosh, there are cracks in the building. So that's a specific type of destruction or a specific type of break. So in your example, you can say break the eggs into a bowl. You could say crack the eggs into a bowl. They're both completely correct. Just consider that crack is like a specific type of break. I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Milud Elumri. Hello, Milud. Milud says, I can easily read and comprehend English well, and also write advanced and complicated English reports, but my pronunciation is really problematic for me, though people still understand me. I think this has affected my spelling. How do I quickly improve my pronunciation and perhaps undo or forget my bad pronunciation that I've learned? Good question. So if you know that you are pretty good with English and you feel confident with your communication skills but want to work on your pronunciation, a really great thing you can do is record yourself. I know that a lot of people feel really uncomfortable about it, but it's so helpful to listen to your own voice. By record yourself, I mean use your phone. So just try listening to a video, for example. Listen to me speaking or find some other video to watch to compare your voice to. Try to say the same thing as the person in the video. Record yourself saying that and listen to it, because it's sometimes really, really hard for us to hear our own voices when we're speaking. Like, it's really hard to understand how other people perceive the way we sound. So by recording yourself, you can listen and find those spots that sound different from the native speaker. So yes, this will take time, but you can focus on maybe some sounds that you realize maybe you make mistakes with a lot. So for example, maybe you make a lot of mistakes with TH sounds or with R sounds or with L sounds. Once you practice this and listen to yourself, you'll be able to identify those. So that's what I would recommend. Try recording yourself and listening. A lot of people say, I hate the sound of my voice. That's fine. But remember, this is for your studies, right? You're using this to improve your language skills. So you don't have to share it with anyone else. Just listen to it yourself and find the parts that are different in your speech in comparison with the native speaker and work on those. So I hope that this helps you, and good luck with your continued studies. All right, that is everything that I have for this week. Thank you, as always, for sending your great questions. Remember, you can send them to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. There's also a link in the description for you. If you like this lesson, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at englishclass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Ask Alicia, and I will see you again soon. Bye! Today, traditional classrooms are no longer the only or even best place to learn a new language. More and more people are finding that they can easily learn a language just about anywhere they have a few minutes of spare time, including their daily commute to work. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the average American spends over 50 minutes a day commuting to and from work, or over 300 hours a year. But rather than simply sitting in traffic and wasting the time, you can instead use your daily commute to literally learn a new language in just a few short months. Our language learning program has specialized learning tools that you can use on your commute to and from the office to master a language in your spare time. What are some reasons traditional classroom settings just aren't the best option for most people in today's fast-paced world? Difficulty getting to and from class. Learning on someone else's schedule. Very expensive and may cost thousands of dollars to complete. Can take years to finally complete classes and learn the language. The simple truth is that traditional classroom instruction is simply not a viable option for most people in today's very fast-paced, time-starved world. Now, let's examine how you can learn a language faster, more easily, and at far less expense than traditional classes, all during your commute to work and back home again. 3 reasons your daily commute can help you master a language in the next year. On average, Americans spend more than 300 hours per year commuting. During the commute to and from work, over 6 hours a week is completely wasted. The time isn't used to help you reach any goals or objectives. But thanks to online language learning platforms with audiobooks and other resources that you can access during your commute, you can easily transform wasted time into progress toward learning a new language. With over 300 hours available annually, your daily commute could provide you with enough time to gain significant skills in a new language each and every year. Increase your earning potential while commuting to work. How would you like to transform all those spare commuting hours each week into more money for a new car, house, or even a dream vacation? According to research, someone making $30,000 per year can boost their annual income by $600 or more per year by learning a second language. Over the course of a lifetime, that's a significant amount. How? From work-at-home translation jobs to working overseas, there are many ways to leverage your second language into more money in your bank account. So instead of wasting your precious time, you can make your commute more productive and eventually profitable. The more languages you learn, the higher your income potential. Repetition is key to mastering a new language. Not sure if it's practical to learn another language while commuting to and from work each day? Well, not only is it possible, learning in your car on the way to and from work each day can actually help you learn and master any language quickly. The simple truth is that repetition is absolutely vital to truly internalizing and mastering any language. So, if you listen to audiobooks or even audio lessons on your commute to work, and then repeat the same lesson on your commute home, the information is more likely to be locked into your long-term memory. Our language learning program has been helping people learn and master language in the comfort of their home, during their daily commute, or any place they have a few spare minutes of time. Here are 5 features of our program that make it easy to learn a new language while commuting to and from work. First, the largest collection of audio lessons on the planet by native speaker instructors. Every single week, native speaker instructors create new audio lessons. All lessons are short, to the point, and guaranteed to improve your mastery of a language. Second, the word of the day. Simply exposing yourself to new information and vocabulary terms helps increase your fluency and mastery of your target language. So every single day, check out the word of the day and memorize it during your commute. It's a quick and easy way to boost your vocabulary every day. Third, daily dose mini lessons. Have a short commute to work but still want to make progress towards learning more than just vocabulary? Not a problem. Our daily dose mini lessons are 1 minute or less and are designed to improve your grammar, conversations, and pronunciation. Fourth, all content is available on a convenient mobile app. You don't need a PC or tablet to learn during your daily commute. Instead, all of our lessons, tools, and resources are available 24/7 via our mobile app. That means you can access all of our audio lessons and other tools during your commute to work or anytime you have a few spare minutes. Fifth, audiobooks and other supplemental resources. In addition to the world's largest online collection of HD audio lessons, our language learning program has audiobooks to enhance your understanding and make it more convenient than ever to learn a language during your commute. The average commute time of most Americans is over 300 hours each year, and it's the perfect opportunity to learn and master a new language. Use the dead time during your daily commute to learn a new language and potentially boost your lifetime earnings. Whatever your motivation, our language learning program has the tools and resources necessary to help you learn a new language each year during your commute to and from work. So, if you're ready to finally learn a new language the fast, fun, and easy way, sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Signing up takes less than 30 seconds, and you'll start speaking from your very first lesson. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Let's get to your first question this week. First question this week comes from Saida Iman Zahra Nakvi. I hope I said your name right. Hi Saida. Saida says, hi Alicia, how can we use sort of in a sentence? I hope you answer my question. Okay, cool. So let's talk about a couple different uses of sort of. The first use I want to talk about is using sort of when we respond to someone. When someone asks us a question, they are trying to confirm something with us. Like they're trying to make sure something is correct. And they're a little bit correct, but not 100% correct. We can use sort of as a response to that. So for example, if someone says to you, are you tired? You look kind of tired today. You might say, sort of. Maybe you're a little bit tired, yes, but maybe you're also just feeling kind of down. So if you want to express that someone is a little bit correct, but a little bit incorrect, you can use sort of. Here's another situation where you might use sort of in this way. Imagine you're at work and you're in a situation where you need to make a prediction about something, and many people are sharing their different ideas. One person might say to you, so, do you think that the company is going to improve a lot next quarter? You might say, sort of, which means that's a little bit true, but a little bit not true. So sort of can be used as a response in this way to mean that something is in some ways correct and in some ways not quite correct. So when you use sort of as a response in this way, you should expect to share some more information about your opinion. So if you respond to someone's question with sort of, you should probably share which parts are correct or that you agree with in the situation and which parts are different from what the other person has suggested or asked about. So in the first situation, I mentioned maybe the person feels tired and a little bit depressed, or maybe they have a cold as well. So for example, you might respond, sort of, when someone asks if you're tired. You might say, I'm just a little bit tired, a little bit depressed, and I'm also a little bit sick. So this expresses the full picture. This is one way we can use sort of. In my second example, when someone says, do you think the company is going to improve a lot next quarter? And you say, sort of. You might follow that up by saying, well, I think we're going to improve in some parts of the company, but other parts of the company might still need a little bit of work. So sort of helps kind of introduce this feeling. So this is one use of sort of. Let's talk about a different use of sort of. This is the same as kind of or type of. So we use this when we are talking about a selection of things or maybe multiples of something. So for example, if you go to an ice cream store, you might go to select your ice cream when you order and you think to yourself, what sort of ice cream do I want to get today? So sort of can be used in the same way as kind of. What sort of ice cream should I get? In American English, we tend to use what kind of ice cream should I get today? We would use kind of in these kinds of situations, but you may also hear people using sort of in this manner as well. So this is an everyday situation. You might also hear this in work or in more formal situations, like what sort of restaurant were you thinking for the meeting tonight? We could also use kind of or type of in this sentence, and it means the same thing. What kind of restaurant were you thinking for tonight? Or what type of restaurant were you thinking for tonight? So all of these, kind of, type of, and sort of, can be used to talk about one item in a category or one thing from a group of possible things. So this is another use of sort of. So I hope this helps you understand the different uses of sort of. We can use it as a response to show that something is a little bit true and a little bit not true, and we can use it to mean kind of or type of. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from O'Reilly. Hi, O'Reilly. O'Reilly says, I always confuse might and must. Can you explain the difference? Sure, yeah, might and must. Let's do a quick review of these two. So let's start with must. We use must and must not for official rules and for very strong advice. So the example that I always like to give when I talk about using must is about showing your passport at the airport. There's often a sign that says you must show your passport to the immigration officer. So there's usually some kind of sign, some kind of rule at the airport or in other official places where you show documentation that says you must show this document. So must is used to show official rules, to show these kinds of formal things that we need to follow. We can also use the negative here. For example, you must not wear casual clothes to the office. So this expresses a formal rule in the workplace, for example. Must can be used to express these kinds of rules. We also use must to express very strong personal advice. For example, a doctor might say to a patient who is a smoker, you must stop smoking. It's bad for your health, something like that. Or you must not eat so much junk food. This is very bad for your health. So we can use the positive and the negative. So must has these two uses: official rules, formal rules at work, at school, maybe in public places, and for strong personal advice. Now let's compare this to the word might. So we use might to talk about things that have some possibility of happening or a condition that is possible. This is in the positive. Or we talk about a condition that maybe isn't so possible in the negative. For example, I might go to the beach this weekend shows there's some possibility of going to the beach this weekend. It is possible. It's not 100%. Generally, for might, I think about it as like a 40 to 60% chance, maybe 20 to 50%. The possibility also kind of depends a little bit on the sound of your voice. For example, if you say, I might might go to the beach this weekend. It sounds different than I might go to the beach this weekend. Might sounds a little bit less certain, so we can use the tone of our voice to affect the level of possibility we want to express. We can also use this in the negative to express something that has a low chance of happening, like, I might not go to the beach this weekend. So that sounds like you had a plan to go to the beach, but you were thinking it's not going to happen, or there's a possibility it's not going to happen. So this is the key difference between must and might. Might is used for things that have a possibility of happening or not happening, and must is used for rules and to talk about strong advice. So I hope this helps you understand the differences between these two words. Thanks very much. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Jose. Hi, Jose. Jose says, are there any other ways to say you're welcome? I saw in a movie once someone said cheers after helping someone. Can we use this word? Yes, great question. Okay, so let's talk about some different ways to say you are welcome. Cheers is one way to do this, yes. We don't really use cheers so much in American English, but you might hear this used in British English, you might hear this in Australian English, so it depends a little bit on where the person is from. Generally, we don't say it in American English, but we'll understand. We don't have a problem with that. So cheers is another way to say you're welcome for something. Here are a couple more expressions you can use. You can say, no problem, or it's no problem. So that shows, everything's fine for me. So you can use no problem in casual situations or when you're close with the other person. You can also use no sweat. No sweat. So again, this is good for a casual situation. Oh, thanks so much for helping me move the sofa. Yeah, no sweat. So no sweat. Sweat refers to the sweat our body makes when we feel stressed or when we feel hot, yeah? So when we say no sweat, it means please don't stress out about asking me for this. So it's a very casual, very friendly expression to use. No sweat. Another expression that you might hear a lot is no worries, no worries. Like, thanks for helping me move my sofa. Yeah, no worries. That sounds very friendly as well. You'll probably hear that in other dialects of English from around the world too. Another one you can use is don't mention it. Don't mention it. So don't mention it makes it sound like don't even talk about it. That's not even something you need to talk about. Of course I would help you. That's kind of the feeling here. Don't mention it. So if you're in a more formal situation, you could say something like, the pleasure is all mine. So we sometimes use this when we introduce ourselves to somebody else. It's a pleasure to meet you. The pleasure is all mine. So this is a very formal way to introduce yourself to somebody and also to say you're welcome to somebody. You can also use the expression happy to help. Happy to help, or happy to be of service if you're in a customer service situation. This means I am happy to help you at this time, or I am happy to be at your service in this time. If you say happy to be of service to someone that is not a customer, it will sound kind of strange. So don't really use this one with your friends unless you want to make a joke. So you can use happy to help, happy to be of service, and the pleasure is all mine in more formal situations, depending on the needs of the situation. So those are all different ways to say you're welcome. I hope that this answers your question. Thanks very much for sending it along. Okay, that is everything that I have for this week. So thank you as always for sending your great questions. Remember, you can send them to me at EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alicia. You can also find a link in the description for this page, so check that out there. If you like this lesson, please, please, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this week's episode of Ask Alicia, and I will see you again next time. Bye! In this video, you'll learn 10 of the most common words and phrases in English. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series. This series will teach you the 2000 most common words and phrases in English. Each lesson will help you practice and review what you've learned. You can also get the full list right now at EnglishClass101.com. Click the link in the description to access more example sentences, create your own flashcard decks, and finally, master English. Okay, let's get started. First is allergy. 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 This word is a noun, and allergy is a negative reaction that you have to something else. So, for example, people might have an allergy to a certain food, to a certain kind of plant, maybe to an animal. So this causes a reaction in the body. For example, maybe your eyes get really, really watery, or you start to sneeze a lot. These are examples of allergies. For example, allergy to pollen. Allergy to pollen. Allergy to pollen. Next is boarding pass. Boarding pass. Boarding pass. Okay, a boarding pass is a piece of paper or a digital pass that you can show to airline staff when you need to get on a plane. So a boarding pass includes your flight number, your seat number, probably the gate that your flight will take off from. So a boarding pass is necessary to get on a plane. For example, boarding pass for the flight. Boarding pass for the flight. Boarding pass for the flight. Next is education. 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 Okay, education is a noun. Education refers to the things that we learn, usually in school or as well in our lifetime. So when we talk about going to school, we talk about receiving education. So that's all of the different kinds of knowledge and the different experiences that we have as kids becoming adults. And then after that, we have other forms of education, other forms of knowledge that we get from books, from our jobs, from our hobbies, and so on. So there are many different ways to receive education or to get education. Here's an example phrase. Education and training. Education and training. Education and training. Next is English. 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 Okay, so English is the language that you are learning right now with this video. So English is a very interesting language. It pulls inspiration from many other languages and countries and cultures around the world. With English, we have kind of interesting spellings to think about, interesting ways to pronounce words, and there are many different dialects to consider in English as well. Here's an example sentence. Mr. Suzuki teaches English. Mr. Suzuki teaches English. Mr. Suzuki teaches English. Next is law. 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 So, law can refer to two different things. Law can refer to a country or a city or a state's rules. Their formal rules are called laws. And when we go to school to study those things, because we want to become lawyers, we also refer to the study of those things as law. For example, law school. Law school. Law school. Next is flute. 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 So a flute is a musical instrument. A flute is played in this position. So we use our two hands next to our face to play the flute. It's a long kind of tube-shaped instrument that makes a high-pitched sound. This is very, very common in orchestras and in symphonies and in maybe high school bands as well. For example, silver flute. Silver flute. Silver flute. Okay, next is IT department. IT department. IT department. Okay, an IT department is a very, very common section in many companies and many organizations. The IT here stands for information technology. So usually the IT department is responsible for helping people with their computer problems, with other technology problems, media problems, and so on. For example, call the IT department. Call the IT department. Call the IT department. Next is business trip. Business trip. Business trip. A business trip is a trip that you take specifically for business. So that means it's different from a vacation. When you take a vacation, it's just for fun. When you have a business trip, you have to go somewhere for work. And maybe you have some fun while you're there also. But the main purpose of your travels is work or business. For example, go on a business trip. Go on a business trip. Go on a business trip. Next is marketing. 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 Marketing is another very common and very important section of many companies and organizations. Marketing refers to the process of creating things that will help sell products or sell goods and services to other people. So that can mean creating advertisements, it can mean writing things on a company website, and so on. For example, marketing department. Marketing department. Marketing department. Next is popular. 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 So, popular means something that many people like. So when something is popular, that means that a lot of people think that it's really, really good. Be careful not to confuse popular and famous. When something is famous, it means many people know about it, or maybe many people know about a person. When something is popular, it means lots of people know about it and lots of people like it. So we can talk about people in this way. We can talk about places like restaurants, and we can also talk about things with the word popular. For example, popular man. Popular man. Popular man. Let's review. I'm going to describe a word or phrase in English. See if you can remember it. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say the medical condition when your body has a negative reaction to something outside of you? For example, dust or pollen or a specific food or maybe an animal. This is a noun. Allergy. Allergy. And how to say the piece of paper or the digital piece of paper you use to get on an airplane. Boarding pass. Boarding pass. What about the word we use to talk about the process of gaining knowledge, usually in school, but in work situations as well? Education. Education. Do you remember how to say the name of the language I'm speaking right now? English. English. Let's try the word we use to talk about the rules and regulations in a country or in a city. Law. Law. What about the word we use for the long musical instrument we play by holding it to the side of our bodies with this motion? Flute. Flute. Now, let's see if you remember how to describe the department or the section of a company or a school that helps people with their technical problems, like computers. IT department. IT department. Another one. What about the expression we use to talk about traveling somewhere for the purpose of a meeting or perhaps to give a presentation? Business trip. Business trip. Do you remember how to say the department that deals with sharing information about a product or service in order to get people to buy that thing? Marketing. marketing. And finally, do you remember how to say the word that describes something that many people enjoy? Popular. Popular. Well done! In this lesson, you expanded your vocabulary and learned 10 new useful words. Click the link in the description and sign up for free at EnglishClass101.com to get access to the full list of vocabulary you need for daily conversations. You'll also get example sentences, custom flashcard decks, and more learning resources. See you next time. Bye! Being in planes, trains, and buses can be an uncomfortable experience for many people. Often, there are small, cramped seats, not many things to do, and sometimes the experience is even scary. Despite this, you often see people working in these environments. How do they do it? In this video, you'll learn 3 tips to help you be able to study anywhere. The first one is adjust to your environment. Most of us would probably agree that a plane or a bus is not the best place to study. These environments are usually dark and cramped, and you may have a crying baby next to you. But the point is, there's never a perfect time or place to learn. The reality is that a lot of us use transportation every day. We face environments that are typically considered unsuitable for study. Trains get crowded. You can't do much in your car. Even in your own home, you'll get distracted by the TV or Facebook or something. And some days you'll be sick. You'll be tired. You'll have dinner plans. Once you accept that there's rarely such a thing as the perfect time to study, you can start thinking about how to make the best of the environment you have at that time. For example, if you ride a train, you might stand up for a long time. It might be difficult to focus on a book. In a case like this, you can use the Innovative Language 101 app to study. Listen to the audio lessons, or do the word of the day by email. There are ways that you can learn in just about any situation. The point is, you need to adjust your study method to your environment. So take a look at your day and see where your time goes. Are there any gaps in between your activities where you feel like you can't study? And is there any way you can adjust? 2. Take advantage of your limited time. We've surveyed tons of learners over the years, and every year we find that the #1 reason most people don't learn a language is they say they have no time. But there's a chance you may have some spare time to study. You might just not recognize it yet. Let's say you commute for 30 minutes every day. You can ask yourself, how do I put these next 30 minutes to use? Or if you finish work at 7 p.m. and spend an hour doing nothing, you can think about what you might do in that hour that will help you work towards your goals. You don't have to use all 30 minutes of your commute or the full hour of your free time, but you can definitely fit in a short lesson or take other steps towards your goals. 3. Have an on and off mindset. When you work, it can be really helpful to have a kind of on-off switch for when it's time to work and time to rest. You can apply the same idea to your language studies. When it's time to study, you can focus solely on that. You don't spend time thinking about doing it, you just do it. It doesn't matter where you are or what kind of studying you're doing, as long as it gets done. And when you're done with a lesson, reward yourself. It can be as simple as telling yourself, "Great job." When you're finished with the time you promised yourself for studies, feel free to focus on the next thing. In this video, we covered a few tips to help you study no matter where you are or how much time you have. It's all about having the right mindset. And for even more ways to study, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! In this video, you'll learn 10 of the most common words and phrases in English. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series. This series will teach you the 2000 most common words and phrases in English. Each lesson will help you practice and review what you've learned. You can also get the full list right now at EnglishClass101.com. Click the link in the description to access more example sentences, create your own flashcard decks, and finally, master English. Okay, let's get started. First is accounting. 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 Accounting refers to keeping track of money. So in companies and organizations, there is usually an accounting department. It's a department of the company that is responsible for keeping track of money-related things. So where does the money go? Where are the receipts? What was the money used for? And so on. We also have personal accounting, where we track our own money. For example, accounting documents. Accounting documents. Accounting documents. Next is bonus. 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 A bonus means something extra. It means something that is not part of the original plan, and in many cases, it refers to extra money. So if you receive a bonus from your job, for example, it means that you receive extra money at your job. You might also just get something called a bonus at something like an event or at a restaurant or maybe at some kind of concert that you go to where you receive something extra as a kind of gift. But usually this refers to money from work. For example, annual bonus. Annual bonus. Annual bonus. Next is light. 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 So there are a couple of different uses of the word light, but for this video, I want to focus on the one that refers to weight. So this light is the opposite of heavy. So something that is heavy weighs a lot. It's difficult to pick up. Something that is light does not weigh a lot. It's very easy to pick up. For example, light feather. Light feather. Light feather. Next is trombone. 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 A trombone is a very common musical instrument. This is a brass instrument. It's very unique in that it's played by moving a slide up and down to change the pitch of the instrument. For example, brass trombone. Brass trombone. Brass trombone. Next is departure. 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 So, departure refers to the time, usually, that you leave somewhere. We see this word a lot as part of a schedule. We can use departure with a time or a place to talk about the location or the time at which we leave someplace. So, for example, departure date. Departure date. Departure date. Next is arrival. 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 Arrival refers to the opposite of departure. Departure means to leave someplace. Arrival means to come to someplace as your destination. So arrival can be used to talk about a schedule, and it can also be used to talk about a location. For example, arrival gate. Arrival gate. Arrival gate. Next is violin. 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 A violin is a very common and very popular musical instrument. This is a string instrument that is small enough to be held in the hands next to the face. It's played by drawing a bow across the strings of the instrument. For example, play the violin. Play the violin. Play the violin. Earth science. Earth science. Earth science. Earth science is probably easy to guess. It is science that is related to the Earth. So the study of natural parts of our planet. So that can mean rocks and trees and nature and how the Earth moves and so on. All of these things are related to Earth science. Here's an example phrase. Earth science research. Earth science research. Earth science research. Next is science. 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 Science is a very, very big category of study. Science is related to the study of many different things in the world that are naturally occurring. So this could be people, it could be animals, it could be the planet and environment, it could be volcanoes, it could be space, it could be chemical reactions. These are all types of science. Here's an example phrase. Study of science. Study of science. study of science. Next is prescription. 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 A prescription is something a doctor gives to you that you then take to a pharmacy to receive medicine. So in the past, we would receive a written prescription. The doctor would write the name of the medicine on a piece of paper and give it to us. Now some people might have digital prescriptions as well. You can take these to the pharmacy and receive the medication that you need. Here's an example phrase. Fill a prescription. Fill a prescription. Fill a prescription. Let's review. I'm going to describe a word or phrase in English. See if you can remember it. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say the department name that deals with money in a company? Accounting. Accounting. And how to say something extra that you receive. For example, extra money from your job or an extra product from a company. Bonus. Bonus. What about the word that is the opposite of heavy? Light. Light. Do you remember how to say the instrument that's made of brass that we play by moving a long arm up and down? Trombone. Trombone. Let's try the word that we use when we talk about leaving a place. We often use this noun before a time or a location where we leave. Departure. Departure. What about the word that we use to talk about when we come to a place? Again, just as with the previous word, we use this noun with time and location words. Arrival. Arrival. Now, let's see if you remember how to say the string instrument that you play by using a bow across the strings and you hold under your chin. Violin. Violin. Another one. What about the subject of study that's specifically about studying our planet in a scientific way? Earth science. Earth science. Do you remember how to say the topic of study that deals with all kinds of different natural processes? For example, biology, chemistry, physics, and so on. Science. Science. And finally, do you remember how to say the medication you receive from a doctor after your doctor's appointment? Prescription. Prescription. Well done! In this lesson, you expanded your vocabulary and learned 10 new useful words. Click the link in the description and sign up for free at EnglishClass101.com to get access to the full list of vocabulary you need for daily conversations. You'll also get example sentences, custom flashcard decks, and more learning resources. See you next time. Bye!
Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary, followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Have you ever landed in Chicago before?
No, this is the first company I've worked for that flies to Chicago.
Yeah, I worked for a company last year that serviced the Chicago area, but not Chicago. My mother still thinks that all major cities have all airlines available at all times.
Yeah, the airline industry is certainly a unique one.
Do you need a coffee?
I was just thinking about that. That would be great, thanks.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Available.
Not busy. Easy to get or use.
Crew.
A group of people who work on and operate some kind of ship.
Service. The work performed by a person or people who serve. Company. A group of people or things, a business group.
Major. Big. Very important.
Industry.
A group of businesses offering a particular service or product.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Have you ever landed in Chicago before?
No, this is the first company I've worked for that flies to Chicago.
Yeah, I worked for a company last year that serviced the Chicago area, but not Chicago. My mother still thinks that all major cities have all airlines available at all times.
Yeah, the airline industry is certainly a unique one.
Do you need a coffee?
I was just thinking about that. That would be great, thanks.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free English ebook before it's gone.